Hello, you unpredictable little nectarines. My name is the Gruffalo, Andy Stanton, and I am a children's author. I've written lots of books for kids. I've written the Mr. Gum series, which you might know, and I've also written a book called Napboff, 1 Million Years of Stupidity, which is quite stupid. And I've written the Paninis of Pompeii, and I've written picture books as well, including Danny McGee Drinks the Sea, Going to the Volcano, and Here Comes the Pooh Bus, but we don't talk about that one because it's horrible. So if you'd like to write a story and you want to know how to make your stories better, I've got a few tips for you from my brain and my experience writing stories that I thought I might share with you. So tip 1 is to make all of your characters a bit more interesting than just good or bad. So if you've got a good character, don't make them, I'm a total angel, la 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 la. And if you've got a bad character, don't make them, I am the devil. Try and put subtleties in there as well. For instance, in Mr. Gum, the heroine, Polly, is always saving the town, but she's she's a brave little 9-year-old girl, but she also does some of the things that, all people do. She gets in a sulk sometimes she gets dispirited, sometimes she can even be a bit jealous and stuff like that. So I made my good character a little bit human, you know what I mean? And you make the bad characters a bit human too. Even Mr. Gum and Billy William III, who are my baddies, they're really stupid. They're like real stupid versions of villains. But also, I like to make them sympathetic as well. And there were moments where, you really like the friendship between Mr. Gum and Billy. So you make your good characters a little bit bad and your bad characters a little bit good. Tip 2, give every character in your story something to do. It's obvious that the main characters are going to be doing stuff in the story, but along the way there'll be lots of other characters too, supporting characters who only pop up for a bit. And that's great, but they should all be there for a reason. They should all be there to help or hinder the story at certain points in the book. So you might find that you've got a small character who's not in it much, but they provide the one clue that helps our hero solve the problem that's happening. Everybody should have their moment. Give every character a moment. And if you find that, for instance, the hero or heroine is doing all the work in the story, divide it up. Let her friends help her and help her solve the mystery with her. It will be much more satisfying if you can see why everyone's in the story. They've all got a reason. Tip 3 is a little related to tip 2, and this is called merging characters. This is a really, really useful tip. I was writing a story a few years ago called The Story of Matthew Buzzington, which, by the way, if you type it into YouTube, The Story of Matthew Buzzington, you can see me reading the whole thing if you like. And there's a villain in that called Pineapple Johnson. He's the school bully. And he comes up to Matthew Buzzington, who's new at school, and he goes, I'm going to bully you. He's a really good character, I think. But in my first draft, he was actually 3 characters. He was, I had Pineapple Johnson, they had 2 other friends. I can't remember what their names were now. They were a whole gang of kids, and they were bullying Matthew Buzzington together. And I couldn't really think of what the other 2 in this gang would do. Pineapple Johnson seemed to be doing all the work. He was going like, and his friends were just going, yeah, yeah. And I realised after a while that I didn't need those other 2. So I merged all of those 3 characters into one, and it was much stronger. It was much stronger to have one bully bullying Matthew Buzzington than one bully and 2 hangers-on. Tip 4. This is a really good tip, I think, as well. I really like my tips, don't I? Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Oh, I really agree with my own opinions. Anyway, if you find that a scene just seems to be describing things, one way to bring it to life is to always relate it to the characters who are there. So instead of just saying Polly had come to a factory and it wasn't a very nice factory and there were some bricks like this, you could make it about Polly's emotions. Oh no, thought Polly as she came to the factory. Look at this place, it looks really haunted. So if you're always relating what the character is seeing to what the character is feeling, you're going to bring your scenes to life. Let us know not just what things look like, but how they make your characters feel. And another really good way to bring scenes to life is to have your characters actually talking about what's going on. So instead of saying Polly and Friday O'Leary came to the factory, you could say, uh-oh, said Friday O'Leary, I don't like the look of this place, Polly. I know, said Polly, it's very creepy. So put Take if you've got too much description, take the description out and put it into the characters' mouths. Do you see what I mean? Do you? Good. And my final tip for you today is that one of my favourite parts of a story is a really satisfying ending. An ending should grow out of what's already been in the story. So let's say you had a story about a kid who found a bag, and every time he reaches into the bag, new money appears. So it's an empty bag, but if you reach in it, pound coin, £20 note. Isn't that amazing? Can you imagine having a bag full of endless money? So that's a great start for a story. But then what's going to happen? Well, you'd have to think about it. Maybe the kid starts buying everything they can and starts being like the king of the world. I'm so rich. But you want an ending as well. What would your ending be? If the ending was kid finds a bag that makes magic money, goes buys everything in the world, and then the kid gets eaten by a crocodile. Bit random, really. You want to make an ending that grows out of what we've seen beforehand. Then it's really satisfying. So let's say the kid decides that maybe being rich is just making them unhappy, and they throw the bag away, and they've learnt something else. They've learned a different lesson from what happened to them in the story. You want the ending to grow out of what we've already seen, but at the same time, you want to make it surprising. It's not so much fun for a reader if we can guess the ending. If we see the bag of money and we go, oh, I know what's going to happen at the end here, the kid's just going to work out that it's better to be poor but happy than rich but unhappy. What's the point in reading it? You want to bring the real trick is to make an ending that grows out of what has come before, but is still surprising. And that is a really good trick if you can pull it off. So there you go, guys. Writing is a tough business, but it's really, really worth practicing and figuring out smart ways to do things. Make stories as strong as you can, make your characters as complex as you can, get rid of the characters you don't need, make descriptions, really bring them to life, relate them to the characters' emotions. Think of a brilliant ending. I can't think of a brilliant ending to this video, so I'm just going to make a fart noise.